Hello, and welcome to Shaheen and Erica's Shitshow Extravaganza. My name is Shaheen, and Jane the Virgin is based off of my life.
And hello, my name is Erica, and the only hoe I know is the one I used to farm my corn.
What the fuck?
Hi, my name is Calina, and I've witnessed a child throw up on its mother in the first 48 hours of coming back to America.
What a homecoming. That's the next Marvel
Yeah.
movie.
I witnessed that too.
Yeah, me and Erica did.
Were you in the same fucking flight?
No.
No, it was at Walmart, bro.
Oh.
Everyone made a pit stop at Walmart.
Yeah, it was so weird.
I felt bad, but I was just like, I made the ugliest face. I couldn't hide it. I couldn't pretend that it wasn't happening. Like the kid was throwing up, and I was just like, oh no.
Yeah,
That's gross.
When I was at the airport earlier this month, when I was about to travel, we saw a kid at the airport that was, one of those like annoying kids that the parents aren't stopping from being annoying. And then he just flopped on the floor, and then
Oh my god.
and then I was trying my best, but I just started like giggling in front of the parents. And like I feel like an asshole, but you know what? Your kid was being annoying. I'm glad that gravity talked to him a little bit. Karina, our special guest today. First, would you like to inform people of how we're connected as friends and companions?
Sure. So I met Shaheen first, actually, and this was 2 years ago, was it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow,
It was
crazy.
2 years ago when I first transferred to SDSU, because before I used to go to community college, and I was trying to find ways to practice Japanese, and someone told me that SDSU has a JSA circle or club on campus, and they do like these, was it Tuesdays, speaking practices or something?
What do we used to call those? Oh my god, it's been a while.
Yeah, I don't know.
Something with sensei?
Stay said she was senpai, I think, but I don't know if
Oh,
we
I
stuck
can't
with
believe
that
I
name.
actually went to that. But yeah, because like if that was the name, I don't think I would.
No, I think it was just, I forgot the name. It was something with a lot of languages because we didn't just focus on Japanese.
Yeah.
But
So I was like, might as well go. And then Shaheen was there. And then I found out that they do even more stuff, like on other days, like on Fridays, they do like the big meeting.
yeah.
And eventually, I did actual JSA meetings, and then started going or hanging out with everybody, like going to eat, and then going to Shaheen's house a lot to watch, like just to hang out after eating. I guess that's what people did. And I remember, like, the first time I met Erica was at Costco.
Oh yeah, that was a good time.
Yeah, we went to Costco before going to Shaheen's house. And I was like, oh, hello, Erica. Well, like, we didn't really talk at Costco, but, like, I think, was it, you stayed at Shaheen's house that night or something like that? So you had some of your stuff in, like,
oh no,
makeup.
I got off of work. I opened that day, and I didn't have time to put on makeup, so I just brought it with me.
Oh, yeah. And so, like, when we went back to Shaheen's house, like, I went into, like, the guest bedroom, and there's, like, a bathroom there, and Erica was doing her makeup. And, like, I really like makeup, too. Like, I started getting into makeup. So I was, like, really curious of, like, what Erica had in her bag, and I was like, oh, my gosh, like, what kind of makeup do you use? And, like, can I watch you put on your makeup? I like watching people put on makeup, and then that's how we became friends.
I remember in that Costco adventure, Karina, I'll be honest, man. When we first met you, we didn't know what the fuck you were. Like, ethnicity-wise, we could not... there was nothing that was popping up. We're like, is she Asian? We don't know. What is she? And then Erica and I kept trying to figure it out in Costco. And then remember when we were getting the champion pictures of the wrestling event? And then Karina, you used your Costco card, and I saw your last name for the first time. I'm like, that's an Asian last name. That's specifically Vietnamese.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, so she has to be Vietnamese, even though we didn't believe that you're full Asian. And then later on, you told us that you're half. I'm like, that's why we kept going on a loop. There was a missing piece of the puzzle. But yeah, that was an exciting time in Costco. That's why I enjoyed my time in Costco.
Was I the one that even was the one that the reason why we were all able to go into Costco was because I had a card?
You were the only one that had the membership. Because it was just me, you, Erica, and the rest were Japanese students. Wait, would their Japanese Costco card work in the States?
I don't think so.
That would make sense.
The American Costco membership works in Korea, so.
Oh, maybe. I don't know. Mine expired a long time ago before I even went to Japan, so. Yeah. And I never went to a Costco in Japan, so I don't know.
Why did Costco become another important part of these podcasts? But okay, so the reason Karina is a special guest, not only because we call all of our guests special, but also because we decided to create the podcast because of a Karina situation, and it was about how long was that ago?
A year.
2 years ago.
Was it a year? A year and a half? It was
last year.
Yeah, but exactly last year I was back in Kuwait, so I'm assuming a year and a few months.
Yeah.
We were at my place.
No, it was during the summer.
Yeah, I know, but in July.
So it was a year.
Yeah, but in July.
Yeah, a year.
Add a month or two, woman.
Okay, well that's not a year and a half.
Bro. I didn't say a year and a half. I said a year and a few months, just in case I was a month off. Damn. Schematics. I don't know. Anyway, so we were hanging out at my place. Who was it? It was me, Erica, Karina, Noah, Jevin, Marty, and Joe. I hope I didn't forget someone. And when we were everyone. And we were hanging out, and then obviously we're not gonna talk about what she talked about because it's about other people. But Karina was telling us a story. And every now and then, Erica and I would jump in and we'd make jokes, and everyone would laugh, and we'd have a great time. And he said, "Hey, we should start a podcast." And the idea was planted, and it was not taken seriously until I purchased a mic, and I said, "There's no going back now. This has to happen." So, thanks, Karina, for planting the seed of Shitshow Extravaganza.
You're welcome.
But anyway. Karina, what would you like to talk about today?
So, I just got back from my year study abroad in Japan, and to give a little background is I studied abroad in a city called Fukuoka in the island of Kyushu, which is the very southern part of Japan, and it's closer to Korea than it is to Tokyo. Just so you guys know.
Oh, wow.
Because everyone always assumed that I was in Tokyo. So every time people came to Japan to visit, they're like, "Hey, let's hang out. I'm gonna be in Shinjuku next week, bro." And I'm like, I'm not anywhere near Tokyo. I'm sorry. So
if you just tell people that you're studying in Japan, they just assume that you're in the main cities, like Japan or whatever.
Yeah. So I studied in the Kyushu area, Fukuoka City, for a year, and I just got back. And I would love to share about my experience of academically and all that jazz, but I thought that was kind of boring. And so today I'm going to talk about my... I don't know if I should say this word. Well, are you going to...
We're Shitshow Extravaganza. We don't... There's no censorship here.
Okay, there's no... I'll try my best to not use vulgar language or stuff like that. But that can hurt anyone's feelings or
that's
stuff
fair.
like that. But I had about a 2-month adventure that I went on.
Can I say something that you told me that So during one of our calls, she straight up said, "I have had so much sex that I don't think I want a boyfriend anymore. And that stuck with me the entire time.
You
Oh
broke
my
the
God.
meter.
It was like, oh man, that's rough. I can't imagine.
So
So it was
yeah,
basically like Pokemon Go, but with, you know.
yeah. That lasted about 2 months, and then yeah. But just a disclaimer is like, I don't think anyone should do what I did, especially.
This is a
especially
cautionary tale,
yeah,
not. This is a
yeah.
warning.
I'm assuming Karina just needed some kind of spiritual pilgrimage to go across.
Yeah, I needed a pilgrimage. I was going through some shit, let me tell you. But so do not try this at home.
Try it in Japan.
Yeah. So that's what I'm talking about today. My hoe adventures.
This is already a good time.
Yeah.
Yes.
So should I just jump into it or?
Oh, I mean, you
Or you
didn't
guys have
hesitate
another
before.
thing? What?
I said you didn't hesitate before. Just go ahead.
Okay.
I mean, like, at this point, I don't have any questions, so.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm eager.
Well, if you guys do, like, stop me anytime.
Yeah, no problem. I will,
Yeah.
trust me.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna make it really short because there's, like Erica said, there's a lot of people that I met, so I'm not gonna talk about every single one of them, just like the ones
Oh,
that stood out
Jesus.
to me.
If we
Oh, yeah.
if we get 10 likes, we'll bring back Karina, and you'll hear the rest of the adventures.
Yeah.
You have to
So-
download the OVA.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, so my whole adventure started, I want to say late January, because well, no one's gonna know anyways except for Erica. But
Yeah.
I had a previous boyfriend around the time that I came to Japan for my study abroad, and up until January, like I want to say the first week of January is when we broke it off. And he was really like, he basically cheated on me and didn't tell me and didn't want to confront me about it, even though I was very calm and I gave him a lot of time to message me. But anyways, he broke my heart.
And this was
And
a long distance situation, right? A semi long distance kind of thing. Like
Oh, no.
didn't he work somewhere else?
Kinda.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I lived in Fukuoka, and it's kind of like, you can compare it to San Diego. You know how there's like UCSD, SDSU, and there's like USD. Those are like the three major schools.
Yeah.
And like UCSD, I guess, would be considered like where all the geniuses go to, or like the most academically
Thanks.
profound, school. I'm not bagging on us or anything.
No, it's
but,
okay. We know that we're the scum of society. It's okay.
Yeah, so I went to a school called HOEdyssey, is what they abbreviate to, and it is the most like well-known school in all of Kyushu. So it's like one of the top 10 schools in all of Japan, and in that particular area, city, it's the number one school. And then the guy that I used to date, he went to the second, which was Fukuoka Daigaku, or Fukudai is what they call it for short. And he
Yeah,
was
fuck
studying
you,
to
Dai.
be a doctor. Yeah, pretty much. So he was studying to be like a doctor, and he was already in like his 4th or 5th year. So by that time, like you're out in the hospital, like doing actual surgeries and like working with real patients. So he was an asshole, give or take.
Yeah, I mean, he was helping people. He was a doctor, but yeah, he's kind of an asshole.
He really like I don't know, like after being or like having an experience with him made me really lose trust in people, because I was like, damn, like I thought he could be better than this, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, so after that really traumatic relationship, my friends were telling me like, Kalina, like you're so like worth more than what he like you deserve more, like, and like you could easily get a guy out here like with the snap of your fingers. So don't worry. And like I don't know about some girls, but like when you get out of a relationship, some girls prefer not to be in a relationship so fast, but like there are some other girls who like really feel lonely and they try to mask that with like seeing other people.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what I was like. And I was just like, dang, like I feel so lonely. Like I maybe I should just try to find someone else that can help me mask these loneliness that I'm feeling.
So you went Black Friday
So,
shopping.
if you want to call it that, yeah. So, but so you know how like there's apps like Tinder and stuff like that,
Yeah.
and like I think
Yeah.
Tinder is pretty like universal, right? It's
Yeah.
not just for
Yeah.
America. But the thing is, like, I never used Tinder before. Like, I'm gonna be real honest with you. Like, Tinder's been out for how long? Like years? Like 5 years or something like
Yeah,
that.
something like that.
I never used Tinder, even in the States. Like, I know people still use Tinder, but I just never cared. I was like, I don't want to use Tinder because it kind of is like a hookup app.
Yeah.
And like when
Mhm.
my friends tell me like, "Oh, I use Tinder to like make friends," I'm like, I don't believe that. To be honest. So, like, I was like, I don't want to make a Tinder. Maybe I should do like an app that's more safe, especially because I was in Japan and like Tinder. Like, if you guys know the word gaijin hunter, have you ever heard of that
Yeah.
word before?
I haven't.
Should I explain what it is, or Shaheen, do you want to explain it?
I mean, you could go ahead. Gaijin is
Okay.
is foreign, and Hunter is.
Okay.
I mean, you can just figure out from there.
Yeah.
It's basically it's basically the people that react to Japanese girls in the States, but it's a flipped kind of scenario.
Ah,
Mhm.
ew.
So like, that's an actual thing that exists in Japan, and I've never been a victim of it before, and I don't want to. So like, I was like, most likely the gaijin hunters will probably use Tinder and try to find like gaijin girls or whatever, and like that's how they would probably find those girls. So like, I thought it was really unsafe for me to use Tinder because of that reason, and not
Mhm.
just because I wanted to play around. Like, I actually wanted a genuine relationship. So like Tinder, it's very basic, right? Like you can just put like your age, a short description, right? But like I
Mhm.
was searching around for apps that would be more trustworthy. Like they verify you multiple ways, and it's not just like Tinder where it's like a short description, but they have like it's like a basically a dating profile where it's like they'll ask stuff like, where do you like to eat out, or like what would you be considered like the perfect date, and like so they have like a bunch of
Plaza
detailed
Bonita.
questions.
Don't. It's a terrible date, and you fucking know it.
So I found this application called Tapple, and the app is in Japanese. So I think it can only be downloaded if you are in Japan, maybe, or something. So I was like, okay, why not try Tapple? And then I downloaded it. And the thing that I think most people don't know, or was really shocking, is if you're using dating apps or whatever in Japan, girls don't have to pay anything to make a profile or whatever. But if you're a guy and you're using a dating app, you have to pay a monthly fee. And the monthly fee to use their service is about $40 or something like that.
Why?
I don't know why I find that
The
funny.
sexism is real in Japan.
That's so strange, but okay.
Yeah. And like apparently there's sugar daddy apps in Japan too, but I'm not even
Fuck.
gonna touch that. But I
I
saw like
would've.
this Japanese I saw this Japanese like TV show about these two girls that were interviewed who used those sugar daddy apps, and they were explaining how that app, like the sugar daddy, if he pays more money, like if he makes his account into like a gold membership or whatever, it shows that they have more money. So like I don't know if it's the same in America.
How is Japan both the most advanced and the most regressed culture I've ever seen? Like, how are they capable of balancing both?
I don't know. But so basically any dating app in Japan that you use, if you're a guy, you have to pay a monthly fee.
That's weird.
Yeah, which is crazy because like $40 you can get like,
The best dating simulator out there, probably.
I was gonna say like 200 chicken nuggets, but okay.
Honestly, they could be the same thing. You don't even know.
You wouldn't even know.
Yeah. So like, I guess that's how they verify that it's not like a robot or something like that. Maybe.
Very horny,
But-
rich robot.
Yeah. But that's the reality of using dating apps in Japan. And so I made my profile, and everything is in Japanese, like the settings and stuff, like you can't change it to English. So if you don't know Japanese, then it's impossible to use. But there's a lot of terminology on there that I also didn't know, so I had to translate a few times to be like, what does it mean? But yeah, so I made a profile and I uploaded like some photos of myself, but like really basic photos, and yeah, and I basically said in my description, hello, like I'm American, I'm studying abroad right now for a year, and I look forward to meeting you, like basic stuff like that. And don't hesitate to talk to me in Japanese because I can't speak Japanese. And it's funny because a lot of the guys on there that messaged me were like, I'm not very good at English. And I'm like, it's okay. Like, I told you can speak Japanese. So,
Just tell them stop wasting your time and go to Hello Talk if they want to practice their English. I'm here to find something else.
yeah. So basically, I had to make that clear. But yeah, so I got a lot of messages from people, and it was a wide range of like, you can choose, like, you can filter people. So like, I don't want people over the age of like 60 or whatever, or stuff like that, to message me, and they have to be only in like this area or something. And the most common age range I would say I saw on there was like maybe mid-20s to late 20s, almost early 30s. And a majority of them were working full-time already, or like what they would call like shakaijin, or full-time worker, salary man life, you know. Saw a lot of those guys on there. There was also a lot of college students too. And it's funny because a lot of the college students, every time like I would ask them like, what college do you go to, they would just say a college in Fukuoka. I'm like, that's not being specific. Like,
Maybe they
I
don't
know you
want to.
wanna.
They don't want to
Yeah.
be shamed by, fuck you die level
Yeah.
of schooling.
Yeah, so, but yeah, and a lot of the guys on there, when they message me, they immediately, the first thing they would say is like about the fact that I'm a foreigner. Like, they'd be like, oh my god, like you're way too beautiful, like you like, are you really American? Like, because I guess this app is for Japanese people, so it's like rare to see a foreigner on here, if not any, especially one that would speak Japanese. So like, they, I can tell like maybe they were being cautious. But another thing is like, you message people on the app through the messaging like part of the app. But like, if they really want to get to know you more, most of them would ask for your line. And I don't know if you guys know what line is.
Yeah.
It's basically a messaging app that a lot of Japanese. So it's like giving out your phone.
It's
And-
WhatsApp, but for Japan.
Yes. And so like a lot of them, if they feel like they want to get more view, then they will ask for your line. And there's been guys who would like ask for my line right away. Like they're like, "What's your line ID?" And I'd be like, "No," because with line, if you add someone, I think it's kind of hard to like delete them afterwards. Like the most you can do is block them. So like I don't want them knowing my line ID. So like I was very cautious when it came to giving out information like that. And so let me start with the first person actually that I decided I wanted to meet in person. And unfortunately, I don't remember their names.
Oh my god.
Oh, shit.
And I wish I could, like I remember some of their names,
Some
but
of their names.
this person I honestly don't remember his name, and I don't have the app on my phone anymore. Like I uninstalled it and everything, so I can't pull up the exact messages. But I'm just going from memory. So let's just call this guy, I don't know, Shaheen. Make a name.
Um, David, but Japanese.
David. Okay, well we'll just call him David. So, um, David, his profile, like he filled out quite a bit on his profile, because like there are some rules for me of when I would want to talk to somebody is if they have a profile picture that doesn't super photoshopped, or like when someone takes a really bad photo and like it's hard to tell what their real face looks like. Like I try to stay away from the guys that would have like Photoshop, like using snow or something,
Yeah.
because that was pretty common. There was a lot of guys who would put their snow photos on there, which kind of like you can tell they have insecurity if they do that. So like I was like I don't want to associate with that. But
You
this
don't
guy,
want to burden yourself.
yeah. So like this guy, he had 3 photos on there, and his hair was dyed, and like not super crazy, but like he had like he looked cute. Like he seemed really like outgoing from the way he looked, and he was a college student, and he was about the same age as me, I believe. And his description was okay, and he sent me a long message. Because first he liked me, right, kind of like Cinder, and then if both people like each other, I guess, or something like that, you can message them. So he liked me first, and then I looked at his profile and I was like, okay, he's kind of cute, so I liked him. And then he messaged me, and he was like sending. By the way, these messages are in Japanese, so I can't really translate some things really good, but the basics of what he was saying was like, "You're so beautiful. Like, I want to get to know you as soon as possible. Like, I want to see you as soon as, like, are you free like
Man.
tonight at 6 p.m.? Like, I want to meet you."
David
And
goes
like,
hard.
yeah. And like for me, I was just kind of like, oh, like why not? Like I'm free. And like my rule of thumb is meeting people is like it has to be in a public area. I will not go to their house because that's rule
Where he
like
will
that's
murder you. Yeah.
pretty much. And Japan has some crazy murder stories, so I don't want to be
Yeah.
a victim of that. And so like I was like, okay, like if we meet, like we have to meet in the city center. And in Fukuoka, there's 2 major places for the city, kind of like Tokyo, except all of Tokyo is like major. But so there's Hakata, and then there's Tenji. And Hakata is kind of like the Shinjuku of Tokyo, and then Tenjin is like the Shibuya slash Harajuku of Tokyo. So it's like where all the young people go. There's a lot of bars, lots of food, shopping. So, and also my school is in the country. So it takes about 40 minutes by bus just to get to the city. So I was taking quite a leap by accepting his offer, but I was really like, at the time, like, I want to be loose a little bit and see what happens. And I took that bus from my school. We have a direct bus, and it's about $6 away. And I took it around 4 p.m. because it takes 40 minutes to get there, whatever. And we already have like a meeting place that we talked about, which was inside of a shopping. And he was messaging me when I was on the bus, and he was like, "Are you here yet?" And I said, "I'm almost there, like maybe a little after 6 p.m. I will arrive." And he's like, "Okay." And then when I am getting close to the bus stop where I get off, I message him again. I'm like, "Hey, I'm like pretty much here. Where are you?" And he said, "Oh, I'm gonna be there in 20 or 30 minutes." And I was like, "Okay, why are you messaging me if I'm here yet?" Like it kind of seemed like he was rushing me.
Yeah.
When I was on the bus, and he wasn't even there yet. So I was like, "Okay, whatever." And so like I get off the bus, and I'm just like inside the mall at the waiting place, and I'm just like kind of nervous because I'm like, oh man, like this one of like I shouldn't be doing this. Like this is everything my parents told me not to do. So and like I was wearing, I wouldn't say like something like really provocative, but I was wearing like I was dressed up like I had like my heels on, and like I wasn't showing like any skin winter time, but like I had like like stuff I wouldn't really wear to class. So
You're
yeah,
you're
and I was
letting him
waiting.
know that you're available,
And
but at the same time,
so
not that easy. You have to work for it.
yeah, and so like he called me when he got there, and his voice was like so like it wasn't deep, it wasn't super high, it was like, and I was like, okay, and I was like, yeah, like I'm over here, like where are you? And he's like, yeah, I'm coming right now. And then I remember I see him at the distance, and he looks at me, and as I'm walking towards him, his eyes jump from my feet up into my head, like he's checking me out with his eyes real quick. And then we're just kind of like, oh hi. And he looked not completely different from his photos, but he didn't look like really like the face I could tell was the same, but everything else was different. So like his hair on his profile pictures was like really like dyed, like you could tell it was dyed brown, like a light brown.
Okay, I
His
have to
clothes.
stop you. Why do you remember
Yes.
so many details except his fucking name? Why do you?
That's a good point.
I don't know. Like
You
yeah,
could
but
describe this
I
man to the
remember his blood
police.
type.
You can describe this person to the police, and they will find him in like a day, and then you can't remember his damn name.
yeah, I'm really bad at names.
Fuck.
So
Okay.
yes. So he looks like a little different from the photos. But for people who don't know, like when you're a college student in Japan, usually around your third, fourth year, you have to dye your hair black because of job hunting, and a lot of, I guess, having colored hair is considered, like
Delinquency.
yes. So those were probably photos from maybe a few years back or something. I'm not sure, but he had like jet black hair, and his hair was really short too. So like he looked a little different, but I was like, it's whatever. He's probably like, because he is a third year, so I was like, okay, like he probably is doing that because he has to do job. I get it, whatever. And as soon as we meet, the first thing is he opens his mouth and he starts going off like a machine gun, asking me a bunch of questions in Japanese. But these aren't just any questions. He's kind of like, why are you in Japan? Why do you speak Japanese? Like, what's your purpose? And
Where were
like,
you
I
the
was just
night
like, oh
Tupac
my
was
god.
shot?
And I was like, damn. I was like, dude, like, is this an interrogation? Like, what's going on? And as we're talking, like, we're walking outside of the mall, and it's already kind of dark, you know? So I was like, you know what? I thought we were gonna go to a cafe, sit down, or just go somewhere, eat, and then just slowly talk and get to know each other. But no, he keeps going off with questions, and he keeps, um, it's just making me really uncomfortable. I'm just kind of like, okay, like, why does it matter to you? And like, he was asking really rude questions to me. Like, even if he were to ask a Japanese person these questions, it's really rude. Like, he asked me, do you have any Japanese friends? Like, he was saying like stuff that was like imagine if someone came up to you and was like, do you have any friends, in like a really like rude attitude or tone, you know? So like, I was just like, dang, like, what is this guy's problem? So I was already not feeling him. And we were in the middle of a busy street or like sidewalk, and there's people walking left and right. Like, imagine the same, like, Shibuya crossing. Like, it was that crowded. And he was asking all these questions to me as we were walking. And I didn't even know where we were walking, but we literally just crossed the street. And he stops me and he says, hey, so I am in a band and I want you to listen to the song that I made because sometimes we sing in English and I want to know if it sounds good. And I was like, okay, sure. And like, when he says he's in a band, he's probably in like the college bands, you know, like I guess they would call it K-on. Like, if you've seen that anime, K-on.
I know of it, never seen it though.
Yeah, it's like really common. There's like a cappella groups, college circles or clubs in whatever. And he takes out his phone. He takes out his AirPods. He gives me one of his AirPods. Keep in mind, we're like in the middle of a busy street, and he plays a 3-minute long video that you probably can't even hear very well because it's live. And it just sounded really basic and me. Like, I was just kind of like, okay, like, this isn't really anything special. And then like afterwards, he's like, what do you think? And I was like,
That was
yeah,
definitely sound.
I was like, yeah, it was good. And he's like, oh, that's great. And then he's like, okay, so this is my band line page, and I'm gonna invite you to it.
Oh,
and
I'm sorry. I thought the name of the band was Line Page. What the fuck kind of name?
I know. And like, he was like, yeah, so I'm gonna invite you to this page and you can like it, and then can you tell your friends about my band? And I was like, yeah, like, totally, for sure. And then he's like, okay, great. And he's like, actually, I have a test that I have to take in about an hour. I gotta go, so bye. And then he leaves.
Was this just a PR move, or was he actually interested in you?
I know. I was like, what the fuck? Like, he literally was like, I have a test. Like, I gotta go. And then he leaves. Like, he starts walking. And I'm like, I was like so shocked. I was like, I've never had anybody do this to me before. And like, I was like, I can't believe I took a 40-minute bus out here in an evening time and like had someone basically, what do you call it? Like, I don't know what that situation was called. Like, I don't know, but he basically just left. And I was like, oh my god, I can't believe this. Like, I'm such a fucking idiot. Like, why did I agree to this? Like, I should have got to know him more, like, before we actually decided to meet. And
okay,
like, I got really upset.
I'm sorry. So
yeah.
Erica, Karina, next time I visit, someone set me up on a date, and then when I'm on my date, I will say, hey, you want to listen to this podcast that I have with my friends? and make them listen to the whole damn thing. And then say, okay, I have nothing to do, bye, and then just leave. That's how we're gonna spread the podcast from now on.
What I don't get is, like, you guys didn't need to meet in person for him to promote his band.
Yeah. And like, I was so confused. I was like, was this like, why? Like, I don't get it. Like, I was so upset that like, I was like, I'm not just gonna go to the city for no reason. So I was like, I guess I'll get my dinner here and take the bus back. And like I asked one of my Japanese friends that I was close with about the situation later, and the friend that I asked, she goes to lives and like shows around Japan, like rock shows, all that stuff. And she told me that it's common for like small bands like that. Like they'll have like girls on the side that they'll like, I don't want to say this word, but that they'll just like sleep with,
So
like band
groupies.
girls. Yeah, yeah. So like maybe he was trying to make me into like one of those.
Well, he did a
girls.
terrible job.
I know. And like it was so funny because I was like, wow, I can't believe this. And so like a few days after, he messaged me like through the dating app, and he said hello in English, and I blocked him.
Oh,
I
damn.
like, yeah. I was like, no, fuck you. Like you don't do that to somebody. Like that's fucked up. Like gosh.
You
And
should
he
have said
went to
hola.
my ex he went to my ex-boyfriend's by the way. So that's why I was a little nervous about meeting him, because I was like, what if like they're in the same department, because he is also studying to be a doctor. So like I was wondering like, oh shit, like what if they know each other? But yeah, so that was pretty much one of the guys that I met on there. And it made me kind of like be careful of like using the app from that moment, because I was like, I should probably get to know these guys more before I agree to meet with them.
And
I
haul
don't want
ass for
shit
40
like that
minutes.
happening.
Yeah.
Yeah. So do you want to say anything about that story or guy?
I mean, David
Can
sounded.
I grab my laptop charger? It's about to die.
Yeah, do it.
BRB.
David sounds like a man who was very focused on his career, or his side career, I guess, of music. And it's you know how, because we are the greatest YouTube channel, and we were invited to Jake Paul and Tana Mojo's wedding because we were that big. But you know how delusional some people seem when they do something small and they think they're big shit already. Because I feel like that's okay. When you watch the video of his band, and it was live, right? Was it live studio or was it live performance?
Like a performance.
Was there a lot of people in the crowd, or?
Not really. It was really dark, and like it was like a stage probably, but it was like a really stage probably, and like all you could see was like shadows of people, and then like the blinding lights from stage, and that was it.
So I mean, he meets a foreigner on an app that doesn't have much foreigners, and the first thing I think he saw, I don't know if this is what the first thing he saw, but I think he saw an opening to the American market for music. He thought he would be getting a Grammy next year. I don't know.
Damn.
But yeah, obviously that was a PR stunt, which is I commend the hustle, but at the same time, he did make you haul ass all the way to wherever you went. I'm not gonna remember much of
the city.
Yeah.
So, should we go on to the next guy that I met?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I actually remember his name.
Great.
I'm disappointed that no dicks out yet.
I actually. What? You said no what?
You have like no dicks out yet.
Oh, soon. This guy.
Oh, was this the first?
Oh.
Yeah.
Was this the first post fuck you die guy? Did I just rap?
What?
Was this your first sexual encounter after the January breakup?
No.
Okay, I'm sorry for asking.
No. So after
fucking dumbass. Damn on you.
So after I met with that whatever David. After I met him, I met a few other guys that I slept with. Or had one night stands with, I guess. And this guy that I'm gonna mention next, he's kind of towards the end of my Hope adventure. So yeah. He was very interesting. I was a little upset that we didn't get to know each other more, to be honest, but I can't blame him. Yeah. So his name is Toshi.
Nice.
Yes, and he is about. I want to say he was 29.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and I'm
I think I
23.
remember this.
Yes. So I'm 23. Don't worry, like I'm not a minor. So
No, we know you're of age. We're just
yeah,
29. Oof.
he, he's the oldest person that I met, by the way, just so you guys know.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah. So, yeah, his name was Toshi, and he liked me, and I was like, okay, like he's okay looking for his age. Sure, why not? And I liked him, and the first thing he says was like, again, it's in Japanese, so I can't really translate it good, but he basically was like, I'd like to get to know you more. Would you like to go out for wine or like
Wine.
some drink?
Immediately indicating that he's 29. Wow.
Yeah. And so I looked at his profile, and the funny thing is, like, he doesn't have a lot in his profile, except for the fact that he wrote that he works as a doctor and his income, which was really high. And
He
I was
wrote
like,
his income?
yeah, you can. There's a section for like how much you make annually,
Man, he knew what he
and
was doing.
Yeah, he was
And he-
flexing hard.
and he made like a lot. Like I was like, oh shit, like okay. And so yeah, so we traded lines, and then he was like, when are you available? And I said, oh, how about this day? He's like, sounds good to me. Let's meet like 6 p.m. Or no, I think it was like 5 p.m. in front of like this shopping mall or something like that. And I was like, sounds good. And it's funny because as the days got closer to when we were supposed to meet, we didn't even talk at all, which I think is bad on my part. Like again, I wasn't listening to what I told myself I would do. But yeah, so like we pretty much messaged the day of, and we weren't even like saying stuff like, oh, like I'm excited to see you. It was kind of like, okay, like I'm on my way, like type stuff like that. And so we meet in front of a shopping mall, and he's on time, I'm on, and he's like, oh, I already made reservations for the place that we're going to be going to. And I was like, oh, wow, okay. And the place that we went to was a shopping mall that was pretty expensive. Like, because I don't know if you know, but like in Japan, there's a lot of shopping malls that are more expensive than others. So like there's malls that would have just brand names in them, and they're made more for like adults. And then there's like shopping malls that are geared towards like younger people.
So like Fashion Valley and Mission Valley.
Sure, yeah. And so he took me to like the like more adult, like expensive shopping mall. And at every like top floor or bottom floor, depending on the, there's always like a restaurant level. And these restaurants are pretty good. It's not like going to a mall in America where you go like the food court and you know the food's gonna be shitty.
Yeah.
Except for the pretzels, like those are pretty good. But so like, of course, because this mall is really expensive, like the restaurants are gonna be really high end. So the restaurant is on the very top floor of the shopping mall, and it's Chinese, Japanese style food, which I'm not a big fan of, to be honest. But he made the reservation, and I was like, okay, like whatever, like I'll just eat whatever he recommends. And so we go there, and he's like, oh, like I have a reservation. And they're like, okay, right this way, sir. And like, it's not super fancy, but it was fancy enough. Let's just say that. And like, we sat down, and the funny thing is like, he is actually kind of small, I would say. Like his build, he was kind of scrawny, and like I don't know, like I like his smile, but like his body was definitely not my type.
It's because most of the weight was in his wallet.
And the first thing he does is he's like, "Would you like to drink something?" And I'm like, "Yeah, of course."
Your
He's like, "What do you
dick.
want to drink?"
Troll.
Oh, oh, oh. And so like, I was like, "Yeah, let's get a drink." And he's like, "What do you want to drink?" And like, I'm a beer girl, so like, I love beer. And I was like, "Let's get a beer." And he's like, "Okay." And like, we get like fancy ass beer he orders, and we order like he orders everything. So he ordered like gyoza, and it was really good. And we also ordered wine. And the funny thing is, like, as we're having a really good conversation, actually, like, he was like, "Oh, so like, when did you come to Japan? Like, how long have you been studying Japanese?" And like, he was really the one thing that he said that really made me laugh was he was like, "When I saw you for the first time, I was really shocked." And I said, "Why?" And he said, "Because you look a lot like a celebrity." And he squinted his eyes, and he was like, "A lot like Ariana Grande." And then I was just like, "Oh my god!"
Just high pitched music all the entire time.
Like, I cannot tell you how many times Japanese people there, like in the specific region I was studying at, thought I looked like Ariana Grande. Like, if I had $1 for every time someone said that, I think I'd be rich.
Is
Because
it is,
I
is
don't
it
know
because of
why.
your tanned skin and
I
your
think that day I was wearing a high ponytail, but my hair isn't even that. And it could be my eyeliner too, because like I know Ariana likes to do like a cat wing. So like I do a cat wing, and like my hair wasn't a pony. Like, I guess I was like, "Oh my gosh, she's like Ariana Grande," and like I was just like laughing, like giggling, like, "Oh, haha, you're so funny." And in my head, I was just like, "Oh, not again." And yeah, and so like we just kind of talk, and I find out that he's a doctor for eyes. Like, what do you call
Oh,
those?
I'm not a real doctor.
wait, a doctor for what?
Eyes.
Oh,
Optometrist.
eyes. I thought
Yeah.
you said ice, and I'm like, what the fuck does ice need the doctor for?
He's an ice doctor.
Like, yeah, this is
Yeah,
ice.
so he's a what did he say? I can't.
Optometrist.
Optometrist, yeah. But he makes bank. And I was like, "Oh, interesting." And actually, towards the end of our meal, I really wanted to go to the bathroom because I know some trick to get the guy to pay for the bill. But I honestly really wanted to go to the bathroom. So I told him like, "I need to go to the bathroom, be right back." And so I go do my thing, and then I come back, and then he gets up and he's like, "You ready to go?" And I was like, "Oh, we didn't pay yet." And then he said, "I already paid it." And I was like, and then he like we go outside, and we go into the elevator to go downstairs. And this place is really, really big. Like the building that we were in, it had like 16 floors, and we were on the top floor. And we were going all the way down to the first floor in the elevator, and the elevator was so like we were against the wall, and he was kind of like um I wouldn't say like kabedon pose, but like
Oh, damn.
he was pretty close to me. Like I could hear his breathing, and like it was like one of those where it's like a very romantic ish moment.
Okay, so it
And
wasn't like an asthma attack breathing kind of situation.
no, that's so creepy. Oh my gosh. Yeah, so it wasn't like that, but I kind of liked him, but not like, oh, like I love him, but I was like, oh, like we had a really good conversation. The food was really good, and it was a plus that he like paid for the bill because like in my opinion, like y'all can come for me if you want, but like if someone asks me out for food, especially if it's like a date, then I would expect them to pay for it because they're the one me. So like, especially because he's also makes a lot of money. So if he didn't and if he was like, "Let's split it," I would like, um,
Does he wear glasses?
He does wear glasses. Actually, no,
Okay, I was
because
checking.
he told me that he got LASIK.
That would make sense because I was gonna say if he was he was an eye doctor, and he has glasses, then it's you know that meme with Red Skull where he says, "I guide those to the treasures I can't possess," something like that. I feel like.
I can't guide you.
I see. Yeah.
But,
So we got to the first floor and we were walking out the building. And as we were walking out the building, like in my head, I'm like, okay, like maybe we might go for dessert or walk around a little bit, or maybe go home. Like that's perfectly fine with me. And then he says to me, "Can I see your right hand?" And I said, "Sure." And I take out my right hand, and he grabs it with his left hand in a like he takes my hand, like he starts holding my hand.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh my god, like in my head, like what the fuck? Like that was kind of like smooth for me. Like I was like, dang, like that was really smooth what he did. But then like I wasn't against it. I was just kind of like, whoa, like this is actually happening. And as soon as he grabs my hand and we're walking out the building, he like starts like I could tell he's drunk because the way that he was talking, he started becoming more not like aggressive, but like more like
loosey
confident.
goosey.
You know what I mean?
Oh.
Yeah. Like he was definitely drunk, and it's funny because we only had one glass of beer and a wine glass, and I was not phased at all. I was like, this is nothing. So I was like, okay, this guy's really weak, and he's like, oh, I want to get to know you more. Like, let's talk some more. And I was like, okay, yeah, like that's fine. And we're walking across the street in the city, and he asked me like, do you want to go back play? And I was like, sure, why not? And he literally lives in the center of the city, like the shopping mall we were at. He literally lives like a block away. Like I was surprised. Like this guy had a lot of money, even though the rent's not that expensive in the city that I live in. But if you live in the center of the city, like you gotta be making quite a bit.
Babank.
You know? Yeah. So we go back to his mansion, I guess what you would call it in Japan.
And his wife wasn't
Do you guys?
there.
Do you know the difference between a mansion and an apartment?
Well, I mean, a mansion is a fucking mansion, I would assume.
Oh,
In Japan, though,
it's different.
How
it's
so?
different. So, like, an apartment is an apartment, and then a mansion is an apartment, but with more floors.
With more what?
Like, there's more. It's higher. There's more floors.
Oh, so it's a 2-floor apartment kind of thing? Or multi-floor apartment?
No, it just has like more. It's like a high rise. More of
Basically, it's not what we think a mansion is.
yeah, basically.
It's just a fancy-ass apartment.
Yeah.
It's really
Okay.
tall. Like
I mean, if
more
it's in a
than
high-rise, it's
apartment.
already an indication of wealth.
Hmm.
It's just
So-
like a bigger apartment,
Yeah.
basically.
Yeah. So he lives in a mansion and by himself. And we went up. Oh my god. It's gonna get a little rated R.
Okay,
Sorry,
wait.
no.
Let me grab the Quran quickly. I need to.
Let me grab my Bible.
Proceed.
Okay, you got your. Okay, great. And so, as soon as we get into the elevator for his apartment or his mansion, he does the like. He starts kissing me. Like we start making out in the elevator.
Oh,
I know.
Santa Maria.
Santa.
And then he like we're like still holding hands, and he's like this is my room, and he opens his door, and then I go inside, and his place, let me say this, looks like a freaking bachelor pad. He had like all of his closet had like a bunch of suits, like, you know, I guess what a salaryman would have. Lots of suits, lots of clothes for himself, and then it was very clean, very modern. His room had a really big bed, and the bed sheets that were on the bed were like not your typical like cotton. It was
Were
like
they silk?
velvet. Yeah,
Like when you jump on them, you just slide off to the other side.
yeah. And I
Ooh.
was like, dude, what the? And then he also had like, you know, like those clear cabinets that you would get to put in like figurines and stuff like that, and you can like have LED light
Yeah.
Mhm.
in them. He had like that, and then inside of those cabinets was wine bottles.
So that's why he likes wine. He's a wine man.
Probably,
Truly.
but he can't even hold his liquor. So like,
Do you think
And
maybe he
he-
sells wine?
I don't think so.
Was this also a PR move? I'm not sure anymore.
But like, so this guy's was like, his place was a bachelor's pad. I was like, dude, this is definitely a bachelor. Like, he probably just takes girls home on the daily and shit like that. And it's funny because he whispered in my ear as we were walking to his apartment and was saying like, I know you fuck around with guys. Like, he said that to
What
me.
the fuck?
What the hell?
I know, and I was like, dude, it fucked up.
Why did you go with this man?
That's kind of weird, man. I gotta admit, that's weird.
Yeah.
I know.
That's a mood killer.
I don't know. I was just like, whatever. And so like,
You're like, whatever. I'll just show you what I mean, and then you just go.
I'll just go into your mansion, take your wallet, and leave.
Yeah.
I know you, Cardi B.
But I didn't know that's what she does.
Oh, he used
That's
to
what
do
she
that.
did.
Yeah.
Oh dang.
Well,
Okay.
I mean, she would drug the people and then take
Yeah.
their money.
Shit. Damn, Cardi B. But like, yeah. Anyways, I get into his place, and he immediately was like, "Would you like some wine?" And then,
I'm telling you, it's a PR move. It's a PR move.
I don't like his. I don't like his like little obsession with wine here. It's kind of
I
weird.
know. And like, he takes out like a bottle, because I guess he gets like a lot of wine as presents and shit, because that's what you get when you're an adult.
Yeah,
I guess.
when you work for a wine company, yeah.
And he takes out this wine. He's like, "Yeah, this wine is from like probably like Germany or some shit. Like, you know, it's imported wine, and it's not wine. He takes out champagne.
Oh my god, who is
I
this
know,
dude?
I know.
Is he
And-
real?
Pretty sure he was planning on killing you that night.
And I was a little bit like shocked, but I was like, damn, like, this is what I got myself into, so I'm gonna just take it. Like, you know that funny what is it? Professor Talks. Have you seen that video where she's like,
Oh,
if someone was it?
dude, if someone murders me,
Yeah.
do not prosecute him. I slipped up. That's on me.
Yeah. That's basically me. This entire experience.
Oh man, he
So,
caught
like-
me slipping.
Yeah. And
That's
so-
on me.
So like, yeah, he takes out champagne and he pours like 2 glasses for us, and like, we're playing. Yes, oh my god, he has a TV in his apartment, and he turns it on.
If
And
it's a wine
guess what's on
commercial, what
TV?
else do you put?
No. Guess what's on TV?
Wine?
Utada Hikaru.
Oh no!
It's like, what song was it? It was like, I think it was either like Automatic or First Love.
Uh-oh.
And I was like, oh shit, it's Utada Hikaru.
You're gonna
like-
have sex to that kind of song, man. Kingdom
Yeah.
Hearts is gonna be weird when you play it again.
Oh my god.
You're gonna
But, like,
you're gonna feel all weird when you're playing Kingdom Hearts.
it's funny because like, I personally don't like having drunk sex because, you know, it's, I don't, well, if one person is drunk and the other's not, I think it's kind of
Bad.
like, it's
Weird.
fun.
You said it's fun?
But I wasn't drunk. it's not fun.
Oh yeah.
Because I wasn't drunk and he was. So I was like, okay. But he immediately, after he pours the champagne and we take like a few sips from it, he starts touching me. And then he gets up and then he takes my hand and starts dragging me towards the bed. And then he pushes me on the bed. And then he starts taking off or undoing like his tie.
I'm
and
scared.
like that. And
This sounds like he's about to murder you.
I'm scared, Karina. I know you're okay now, but I'm scared. This turned into a horror podcast.
And we have really let's say we have really rough sex.
Oh, man.
And
Okay.
Oh, man.
no, okay, this I'm not gonna lie. This is like the most sex I've had in one night. Like, because this is what would happen. We would be doing it, and then after, I don't even think he came at all, but like,
Oh my god.
but I don't remember. But anyways, like, after we, I guess, would be done, we would take a break, and the funny thing is he smoked. So he
what?
He smoked.
Oh, he smoked. Okay. Why'd you whisper it like it was something weird? Like everything that happened up to then was weird. Why was this like you're hesitant to talk about?
He smokes, and I don't know if you guys know what is IQOS.
Ico?
I don't.
Oh, probably not. So IQOS is like, think of it as a vape,
Mm-hmm.
but instead of liquid, it's like the actual cigarette, but there's no ashes. You just kind of slip it in the pot, and then you suck from it like would with a, and then when it's done, then it would tell you that it's done, and then you take it out, and then you just throw it away. So that's what's really popular in Japan right now, but it's extremely expensive. Well, I wouldn't say extremely, but people who have IQOS tend to be people who are like businessmen, because the electronic part itself and then you have to buy the fills, and each pack is $5 or something. So he had one of those, and so but between our fun, he would be smoking that or drink more champagne.
My god.
And
Is he trying to
after our
forget?
second-
What's happening?
After our second time, it was already around like getting close to 10 p.m.
Oh
Like,
my
we
god,
got-
that's so early.
We got to the place really early. Like, it was like or something, or like 9. And like it was getting kind of late, and I live in the countryside away from the city, right? So I was like, I thought it was gonna be like, we have sex, I'm done, and then I go home, like,
Like,
but
smash and dash.
yeah. And so like I'm like saying like, okay, like it's getting time for go. And then he's like, no, don't. And he said you can stay the night, and I was like, oh, but I can't, like I have a plan with friends tomorrow morning. And he said I can drive you like in the morning back to your house
In his
And I was like,
Batmobile.
oh
No, and his bottle of wine.
yeah, his wine bottle. But I was like, well, okay, like I was like, fine, like, yeah, I don't have to pay for the train. So I was like, okay, like, sure, I'll stay with you. And so like he was actually really nice. Like he was like asking if I was, and like he was like, do you want me to turn on the humidifier because you're coughing quite a bit? And like, okay, I know what you're gonna say.
What are you talking about?
Let me just say that no oral sex happened between us. Let me just say that. So I'm quite happy.
I mean,
Because, like,
considering
yeah.
you guys went through a couple rounds, and there was so much wine and champagne involved.
Yeah.
Because this man, I'm
And-
sure, had stocks in some wine company.
Probably. And so like, I'm pretty sure we did it like at least 5 times.
my god.
within like 3 hours or something like that. I
Is
don't
that
know.
healthy?
It
I'm
was,
gonna look that up. I don't know anything.
but let me just say he was
Can
pretty
you
good.
break your dick? Wait.
Like he was pretty good. I'm not gonna lie.
Do you think he
But
uses alcohol to release the inner demon that he has?
I don't know.
Because
Maybe
isn't there
he
something
said
called
his
like
hobby is drinking.
isn't there something called like what's it called like I forget some what if a guy drinks too much his dick goes limp?
Oh,
What's it called?
I don't
Was it wine dick? No,
wine dick.
can't remember. But basically, if you drink too much, he can't get it up. So I'm assuming he knew
Oh.
his limit. If he can hit
Yeah.
5 times.
But eventually, it was getting pretty late. Like it was like maybe 1 or 2 in the morning is when we stopped. And then like I was like, I'm tired. I want. And he's like, okay. And he's like, do you want to take a bath? And I was like, sure. And like he gives me like a towel and he's like, hey, like you can wear my shirt or something to sleep. And I was like, oh, thank you. And like, yeah. So the next morning rolls around and I told him like, oh, like we're kind of like cuddling and stuff like that. And he was saying like, oh, like I don't want you to go. Like we had a lot of fun. And I was like, oh, same here. And he's like, next time, like we're kind of talking like, oh, like next time let's like go to the beach or something like that. And I was like, yeah, yeah, yeah. And like, so anyways, I get dressed, I get all my stuff, and we leave. And his car, we were walking to his car in the parking garage, and I'm trying to figure out like what kind of car guy drive. And like he's like, okay, that's my car, and it's like a freaking Mercedes. And I'm like, dude, this guy is rich. Because okay, in a Mercedes in America doesn't seem that much, right? But in Japan, if you have like a European car, like that's you're pretty rich. Like driving alone in Japan is expensive. So like I was like, damn, this guy he has more money. And so he gets out the car and then he drives me all the way back to the countryside where I live. And in Japan, like the freeway is free. They call it expressway, so you have to pay to go through the toll. But you can get places fast. And like he drove on that the entire way. And like I know it doesn't seem like a big deal, but if you're a college student or like you don't make a lot of money and you're constantly taking the toll roads to get places when you can just take the side streets, like it adds up. Like imagine coming from like SD like Convoy, that distance, one way would cost you like $10. Take the toll road. Like I was surprised. And yeah, and so he drives me back, and in the car we're like talking about what we should do next, stuff like that. And oh, the funny thing is this guy, I kind of don't like it that much, but like as we're having sex, like he tells me, "I love you," and I personally don't like he said it excessively, so I thought it was kind of weird. So like I was like, yo, dude, we ain't even that close. Like you don't have to say that. Like it's
Like,
not
what's
gonna
my
make
name?
me
It's
feel
not Ariana
better.
Grande. What's my name? Say it.
Yeah, like it's not gonna make me feel better if you say that. Like just stop. Like, but he said that a lot. So, but after that, right? So I message him and I say, thank you so much for driving me home. Can't wait till we meet next time. Like, when are you free? And he tells me like, yeah, like me too. And he tells me like I'm free today because that's my day off. And I'm like, okay. And next Sunday rolls around and I ask him, like, hey, want to meet up or something? And he completely ignores my message and doesn't read it until like when Sunday ends, basically. And then he told me that he or something like that, and
He
he's like,
what?
let's meet next time. Having
Yeah, he was working on another girl.
yeah, and so like I was just like whatever, like dang. And so like after that, he's like, let's just meet next week, and I was like, okay. But after that, like I wasn't really like what do you call it? Invested in him. I was just like, whatever, like I'm not gonna waste my time.
You're not invested in him as much as he's invested in that wine company. We get it.
Yeah.
Because like I'm not gonna waste my time with guys who like I could tell that he really wouldn't want a serious relationship with me. And
He straight
especially
up
what
told
said
you.
to
He
me-
straight up told you
Yeah.
that you like I know you fuck around like on the way home. Like
I
what the fuck is wrong with this dude?
Yeah, so I was like, dang, like I'm not gonna even try. But that was Toshi. And you know the funny thing about him is after I started dating my boyfriend right now, and we've been dating for a long time now, is like maybe my second month into dating my current boyfriend, he messaged me online, like the Toshi guy, because I think I didn't like remember him, and like he asked me, "Do you have a boyfriend?" Question mark in Japanese, and or not like, "Do you have a boyfriend?" But did you make a boyfriend? You know?
Did you create him from dust? What's it called? From dirt? And how did God create us?
Because I don't know like the translation for it, but like in Japanese it'd be like "karashi dekita," like did you successfully get a boyfriend type
Did
thing.
you procure a companion?
Yeah. So like I read it and I was laughing so hard, and then I asked him because I was like, dude, this guy probably wanted to like have another one night stand or some shit. So
I mean, it
I was
wasn't.
like,
It was a
whatever.
one night stand, but man, it was one long stand apparently.
Yeah. When I think of stand, I think of like the freaking stands from JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. Have you watched that?
I only just started it. I'm only three, I think, episodes in of the 2016 one, I think.
Oh, okay.
So I would not
But
be
yeah,
able to comprehend your reference.
but yeah. So that was pretty much the second, like, I guess, interesting guy that I've met through
So
my
you met
adventures.
musician David and horny Bruce Wayne. Great. Like this is a great.
And to be honest, everyone else is, like mediocre like stories, so I don't think I'll say them. But I mean, has it been like fun?
What?
Like, isn't it like an hour the podcast?
Yeah, but because we record earlier, we kind of suck at keeping track, I guess.
Oh,
Um,
So we're at 2 hours now, but that's because we recorded a shit ton before the episode.
oh, okay,
I'm more than confident that we are at an hour mark though.
yeah,
Yeah, so we can wrap it up.
Because she was, yeah.
yeah. So, long story short, is I met quite a few guys as I was on my little hoe adventure, in Japan. And oh, let me tell you, the hottest thing that someone ever said to me after we had sex was, "Do you want to eat beef bowl?"
Oh my god, that is. I'm ready. Like holy shit. Whoever
Like,
said that, you should have kept that person. They understand what it's like.
he was really hot, like damn. But anyways, so my whole adventures stopped in, I would say, March, because I started in late January, and then I went on break for a little bit because I was like, I don't want to like use my body, you know, it's really tiring. And so, and then obviously you have to account in for when the period starts
Yeah.
and stuff like that. So yeah, I was kind of getting tired of like because at a point I was like, why am I even doing this? Like, a lot of the guys I have sex, you know. So like, I was like, I mean, it's fun, but like when you're doing it a lot, like, and you're not having like a relationship, like it kind of sucks.
I know what you
So
mean. I get it.
yeah, and and yeah, and so when I went to Korea, I still had the app installed, but I was checking periodically, and I did meet a guy on there. His name is Yuki, and he is my current boyfriend. So
Snaps to that.
snaps the fingers. And it was funny because when he messaged me, he liked me, and then I liked him. And then he messaged me on there, and he was very different from the other messages because most of the messages I got were like, "Wow, you're so beautiful! Like, I want to see you, or I want to meet you." But Yuki was kind of like, "Thank you for your like. I'm very honored to talk to you." And he was like, "Yeah," he was like really genuine, and I was like, "Wow." And then like, I was in Korea, so like half of my attention wasn't to my phone, so like I misread what one of the messages that he sent to me, and I thought he was asking me like, do you want to go out to eat lunch? So I said, yeah, that's fine. But actually, when I reread the message after I came back from Korea, his message was like, do you like to go out and eat lunch? Not. So I was like, oh crap. And it was funny because like we already made the plan and everything. But then from there, ended up working really well.
Wait, who would ask?
Like,
Who would ask? Hey, do you want to eat? Like, what is the? Why would you ask if someone likes to eat lunch? I feel like that's such a crucial part of
no,
human.
that's honest. That's honestly what I thought. Like, and like, yeah, so pretty much we started talking a lot, and then we went on a date and things went really well. And I honestly thought that it was just going to be like a one night stand, because I'm going to be honest, the first date I had with Yuki, we had sex. Like, I'm not even gonna like
Man.
sugarcoat that. Yeah. And like, I thought he was gonna just be a one night stand, but the next day he messaged me and kept on messaging me like every single day, like saying like, oh, like, what are you doing? Like, how's your day going? Like, I want to talk to you again. Like, let's have a phone call tonight and stuff like that. So
And he wasn't
yeah,
trying to sell you anything?
no,
Man,
he
this guy
wasn't.
is different.
Yeah, and like, and so long story short is after I met Yuki and we started like really connecting and like going on dates and stuff like that, I was like, you know, I think I found someone that I would like to build a relationship with, like a genuine relationship with. And so because he used the app to meet me, right? And I used the app to meet him. So I didn't want any games or shit like that going on. So I told him like, I'm gonna delete this app. Like, I said it in front of him when we were together. But the thing is, like, this app is in Japanese, right? So like my Japanese is not that good. So like I asked him if he could go into settings and delete the application for me. So I gave him my phone and I was watching him and he was like deleting or going into the settings, stuff like that. And you know, like when you delete like a account, they usually ask you like, why are you deleting this? And there's like options. So like he clicked, or I guess check mark, the one that said, I found the person for me. And then he deleted my account. And I was like, oh my god.
Was he just what?
So-
Just now, he was his own wingman. How did he do that?
So yeah, that was pretty much like the end of my hoe adventures and stuff. So like, advice: be careful if you're using online dating or applications. Like, no one's gonna judge you. 2019, like whatever. Like,
What year is it?
Yeah. So like, I mean, like, it's kind of embarrassing, you know. Like back then when you would be like, I meet this person like online, but like that's how we met through like forums and like, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
And like, it's only natural that like nowadays like you can meet your like future partners through online dating. I don't see it as an issue. but there's still like a stigma to it, so it's kind of embarrassing. Sometimes when you have to be like, how did you guys meet? And it's not your typical, oh, we met in college, or like we met at a bar. It's like, oh, we met through a dating app.
See, the issue with dating apps is there's two types of stigma. There's the I'm too desperate, or not too desperate. I guess desperate and not good enough to find someone in person, which is Match.com. And then there's, oh, we met online, meaning that it was initially supposed to be a one night stand, but the night never ended, and here we are.
Yeah.
Which is where Tinder, I think, and other more recent apps are like. Which is why there's some kind of stigma. But honestly, everyone does it now.
Yeah.
I don't do it because I'm sad, but otherwise,
Yeah, I mean, like, from coming from a person with my experience, especially using a dating app in a different country, so I would say, like, just be careful, like, know your limits, and be safe, and, like, anything could happen, even in Japan, which is considered, like, one of the most safest countries, but, like, there's still, like, a lot of shit that goes down there.
Yeah.
So, just be safe, and use protection, for sure. And, like, meet in public places, and you never know, you might find your soulmate.
This episode was sponsored by David's band.
And Tadpole.
And whatever wine.
Tapple.
Let me check if that's available here. Give me a sec. I'm not gonna download it. You said it might just be available in Japan. This is a scientific experiment. There's Taplock, which is, I'm assuming, not what I'm thinking it is. I
found it on the app stores.
No, they have it. They have it in the U.S. store.
Wait, do you write in Japanese or English? Because I got two.
I wrote in English.
In English.
Because I got two. When I wrote it, I got two. Japan social Asian dating chat app meet, and then it stops there. And the other one is by Michael Ward, which is already not trustworthy because Japan dating, Tokyo dating, and Japanese Asian something. So I'm assuming this is very specific for certain people. So yeah, Tapple.
Just do like Tapple and then dating. I think how I found this app was I searched up like dating apps in Japan, and there's like a article like listing the top like 4 or something, and apparently it says the number 1 is pairs. The second one is Tapple, third is Omiai, and 4th is Tinder.
Is this just coming off the top of your head?
No, this is coming from the Google.
Oh, so you searched it just now?
Yeah.
You're okay. I was like, there's no way you remembered the order of the top 4, but not remember David's name. I still find that hard to believe. So this is what we learned in today's episode. Sometimes you need to go on a spiritual journey. I use spiritual very lightly. I don't want to say sexual journey. In order to eventually find the treasure that you sought after without even looking for, really. And that is your current boyfriend, Yuki. I hope everything's going well. Also, online dating. Is it good? Is it bad? Calina just told you a lot about it, so I'm not going to reiterate. But yeah. Otherwise, thank you very much, Calina, for being our guest today. Welcome back to the United States.
Thank you.
I don't know if you're happy to be back or kind of bittersweet about leaving Japan. But
I know I'll be back.
Yeah. It's been great. It's been fun. Thank you for enlightening us on your Pokemon Ho adventure. And it was absolutely a thrill. It was a roller coaster, especially with the rich guy, because it went from normal to I'm scared, I'm really scared, and then I'm like, okay, I'm less scared. But yeah, thank you very much. Erica, would you like to add anything to our guest?
What a wild story. Crazy.
Erica has heard more stories.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I have. But, you know.
Yeah.
To be
I
like,
paid for that content
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
To get that
by being her
expressway.
friend. Yeah.
Should we? Karina, do you want to try doing a high pitch sound, or
Me? No way.
you can't do it?
I think Shaheen does it the best.
Yeah, but I've been
Yeah.
losing my shit the past 2 episodes ever since I traveled. Let me try. Oh, wait. Thank you for listening. Here is your reward. Oh man, let me do a few push-ups.
That really helped us.
Okay.
It does. I